All right, now this is another one. Greg is throwing up right now because he's looking at this. Every time before I make a move, I call him. I know people are like, yo, you should call me. But he's my brother. I gotta call him. So I call him, and this is how it works. I used to call Shotty a lot, but he's so busy now with social media. And he got a lot going on because I would tell him what I'm about to invest, and he would like try to debunk why I shouldn't do it. To the point where I'd be like, this is why I'm doing, this is why I'm doing, this is why I'm doing. And he was like, all right, that sounds like a good investment. So now I call Greg and he's always like, damn, how you seen that? He's always encouraging me to make the investment. And now I'm always like, yeah, you should do it too. He's like, nah, you do it. And so Toast, man, I'll be honest, this is one of those companies that I've been watching for 6 months. I watch CNBC all the time. I love Josh Brown. I heard Josh Brown talk about it on Halftime Report probably 6 months ago. And I was like, wait, this company, this sounds very familiar to a company that I know. So if you are in our community and you've ever had to sit in a barbershop on a Saturday, I don't know, this probably predates, but you know what that's like, right? You get into the barbershop, you're sitting there for 5 hours, somebody's in there, walks in like, yo, I was already here earlier. And now you got a whole situation in the barbershop. Until this company decides to say, like, we need to revolutionize how barbershops are, and they're called Squire. So if you ever heard Squire, Squire revolutionized making appointments. You can, really take that industry and revolutionize it from saving people time to making appointments, to taking direct payments. It does all those things. And so when I heard Toast and I did the research on it, I'm like, wait, this is a cloud-based platform that manages the restaurant industry. And so what Squire did for the barbershop industry, right? Toast is now doing for the restaurant industry. And I'm like, oh man. So I've been watching this pretty closely. I said, all right, I like everything that I see. November 7th, they reported, but November 6th, I don't know. I think maybe earlier than that, maybe the same day or the day after, I reported like, yo, I'm gonna put this call in. Now the call obviously did not. It wasn't this, right? It wasn't 284%. That didn't happen. When the first reported earnings shot through the roof, I remember like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy. We on for a good ride here. But this is just one of those things. Like I sat for 6 months watching it, and I went out a little further. And I did that because this is one I was thinking, all right, well, if I sell this is going to count towards this year's taxes. I saw that there was potential growth. I had looked at Estimize, which you showed y'all on the last call. I looked at what all the analysts were looking at and saying, all right, what's the EPS, right? What's the earnings per share that they're going to potentially get to, or they're going to estimate at? What was Wall Street thinking? I looked at profit margin. I'm like, oh, this is pretty solid. In fact, there's still some room for growth. But then I was like, here comes the Ian thought. And shout out to my brother Ian. He's like, what's the profit margin, Troy? What's the profit margin? Well, if you know the restaurant industry, those profit margins are super thin. In fact, they're single digit. But this isn't the typical restaurant industry play. This is a tech company inside of it, right? And so look at those gross margins, right? Between 17 to 19%, which is really impressive for that industry because it would classify as a fintech company inside of the restaurant industry. So I love that. And then their growth year over year. So it tells me how the company is expanding, right? Their 30% growth year over year. I was like, all right, this looks really attractive. What sealed the deal for me, and I'm breaking down exactly how I did it. I went out and looked at the contracts. I was like, wait, hold on. These contracts are super affordable. I was looking at a couple of things, and I'm going to show you implied volatility and decay, right? Or theta, which we'll talk about. And I'm like, these contracts are real affordable. In fact, on the phone call, I was like, yo, the contracts are like $200. And this is at the time, I think Toast is trading at, and the company is Toast, like the bread, Inc. But this is the ticker. It was trading at like $200, and Toast was, at the time trading at $32.30. It might have been like $32.30, and the $33 call for January 2025 was like $200. I'm like, that sounds very affordable. And so when somebody asked me, yo, Troy, why did you do this call so close and it's not your really strategy? Well, I know some of the calls that we did last time, those are big boy calls. And I'm like, everybody doesn't have the same, they're not starting at the same point as me. That's why I never post money, because I know that everybody's money is not the same. I will post percentage because that's something that we can gain together. And so I said, these are really affordable, like $200 for one contract. That's really attractive to me. And so I bought, I think maybe 20 contracts. I posted it. I think I bought 20 contracts, did the deal, got it in the first day. We're up like 35%. I said, yo, G, you did it? He's like, nah. I was like, next day, 40%. Yo, G, you did it? Nah. So here we are. Here we are. 284%. Obviously, once we got to 100, this is short term. You know, we take our initial investment out and we let the rest run. And so now we got the rest running at that rate. And I mean, I think it'll stay in this range, maybe 42 to 44, 45. I don't see it having too much of a crazy breakout after that. But, you know, that's a nice breakout on something that stayed low, kept firing, just waited for the right time, waited for the right catalyst. And this earnings report was it. Now, I said, even in that, trading and investing has considerable risk. Somebody said, when did you get the contract? I got this contract. It's in the community. Literally, I posted when I bought it, how many I bought. That is literally in the community. I'm looking down. Somebody just asked me that. But yeah, if you go after this, go back in the community around November 7th, 8th, look at my posts. I have this actual call in there. I think it was like 83% at that time. But yeah, this is going to run. This was a nice one. This was a nice one.